How often and how much should you train if you want to wrestle at a college level in general? I wouldn't even say elite college, because they're all elite. It's very difficult to do. Not impossible. If you say, who wants to wrestle in college, and 1,000 kids are there, 1,000 will raise their hand. Who wants to give up chunks of their life to commit to this? The hands go down. So the statistic is something like 2.1%, maybe it's 1.9% of the wrestlers who want to wrestle in college actually do. But they say 95% of all diets fail. Diets don't work. No, they do work. If you eat less than you burn, you're going to lose weight. Even if it's some bullcrap cabbage diet or something, it's not healthy, but it'll work. You're the one that didn't make it work. You had an exercise regimen, you didn't stick to it. You drank too much beer, you ate too much pizza. As adults, we do this stuff. So, did the diet not work? It didn't work for you. But that doesn't mean it doesn't work. My Remax real estate license doesn't work. No, it doesn't work for you. I know a lady who's a millionaire who sells Remax. It does work, it just didn't work for you. So, how much should you train if you want to wrestle at a college level? Whether it's a big time college level, they're all big time. It's very difficult to do. Not impossible. You put 1,000 people in a room, you say who wants to wrestle in college, everybody raises their hands. Who wants to give up big chunks of their life to dedicate to this? Hands go down. So, I think most people who really, really, truly want to, who have really put the time in, sure, the kid who started as a junior, he's from some small town in Idaho with no wrestling team to speak of, probably not going to make it. But for the most part, if you've at least given yourself a decent chance, it's not that difficult to do. So, how much should you train? I say 3 days a week on the mat, 3 days a week in the weight room, and you can do those back to back. You can lift and train the same days and have 4 days a week off to be a kid. Now, make sure that when you're wrestling, you're not just going into open mat at the high school and rolling around. Oh, we had a good workout. Got some mat time in today. Now, is it better than staying home playing video games? Yes. But did you really accomplish anything? If you want to go to the weight room and pull on the pulley machine and there's some dumbbells, and you pick up those for a while, and then you do some of this, you do some of that, and then you say, oh, there's a jump rope, I just tripped over it. I'm going to jump rope 20 times. Throw the jump rope down, you go bounce into the next thing. Is it better than staying home playing video games? Yes. But are you getting strong? Not likely. So you want to have a plan and a system. Let's just say, our takedown machine program. How do you score takedowns? Leg attacks, secondary attacks, which is scoring without shooting. Defensively from a front headlock and a down block position, and defensively if your opponent isn't on your legs, whether it's high, medium, or low level. Maybe you're on your hip. So, even when they're on your legs, there's different positions there. We have it all mapped out kind of in a systematic, right? That's a system for drilling takedowns. Now, do you drill all 7,000 takedowns and variations and 32 ways to score from a Russian 2-on-1? Probably not. A lot of it's junk. So you say, what's actually going to work? Let me put that on a piece of paper. So now you have a plan. So, because remember, a system that tells you what to do by default is telling you what not to do. So when you have a weightlifting program, you go into Gold's Gym, you're not going to touch most of that equipment. You're not. Why? Because you have a system. You're not wasting your time. You're not bouncing around. And you say, well, man, it might be good to do some of those. No, it's not good to do some of those. Well, why not? Well, because if you do some of those, then you won't be able to deadlift 200 pounds. You want to focus on deadlifts. You don't want to do those other, exercises that are meant for 40-year-old men and women. Not everything in the weight room is good for you. It can take away from your effectiveness and your ability to train in the impact areas. The areas that impact your strength, the areas that impact your career. So, I say have a system, go 3 days a week, and make sure you're in the weight room. You have a system there too, and a plan. And you're hitting it hard, very hard. 3 days a week, a lot of live wrestling. I say an hour of live wrestling every practice. Your practice time should be about 1 hour and 15 minutes. 5-minute warm up, hour of drilling, maybe hour, then a couple 5-minute breaks are built in there. Hour of live, 55 minutes of live, 2 hours and 15 minutes. And you do that 3 days a week, and you make sure you have partners you can beat, partners that are even with you, and partners that can beat you. And if you needed help, our online academy is everything that you need. We have basics, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, 4 phases. Hit 30 reps of everything on the basics phase, and you're like, I've wrestled 5 years, I don't need the basics. There's stuff on here that college kids don't know. And you haven't wrestled 5 years. You've had 5 seasons. You've wrestled 16 weeks. And if you're a middle school or youth kid, you've wrestled 1.5 hours twice a week for 13.5 weeks a year. You probably did a lot of running and video and games. You might have 12 hours of wrestling. You haven't wrestled for 4 years. You've trained for 12 hours, exaggeration, but you probably haven't even trained for 30 hours if you have 4 years of experience in youth and middle school. So yes, master the basics phase. Hit 30 reps of everything. Then come back when you're done. Hit 10, 15 reps of everything. Go back to phase 1. Then you do phase 2. Then you do phase 3. Then you go back through and you just start drilling the plan. You hit 5 reps of everything. You drill the plan once a week. And that's a great way to at least dive in and master our system and methods. And then you're like, okay, I know how to hold my hand now properly when I have a reinforced arm bar for my clarion tilt. That's a technique, but you don't need to drill it anymore. So now you have your plan, and you start taking a black marker and you scratch stuff off. Your plan gets smaller. You don't need to drill this anymore because it's not a move or a technique or a skill. It's just an adjustment to make. And it is a move in the beginning, but now it's just something you don't need to drill anymore. If I do a head snap, I need to bend my wrist, put my fingertips close to your far ear. I don't pull on your neck with a head snap. Okay, now I got that. Scratch that off the list. So pretty soon, this big practice plan of Purler Online Wrestling Academy gets smaller, doesn't it? And from a weightlifting standpoint, 95% of your power and strength and athleticism comes from 5% of what you do in a gym, and that's where you should focus your efforts on. So that program's going to be about 45 minutes, maybe an hour if you have some breaks built in. 45 minutes. I like supersetting. I think that's a good way to have 2 exercises going at once. I think that's a good way to get in and out of the gym, and still, very effective. And then, thirdly, I would say you want to spend time studying the mind and how the mind works, how to overcome nervousness and anxiety, and our YouTube channel will be tremendous for that. We have playlists there on confidence and so forth. You can listen to talks on YouTube, and there's books you can read, and there's audio books to listen to. But you definitely want to kind of master and understand the sports psychology side of wrestling, because it is a very emotionally draining sport for the kids and the parents. And if you have little ones, then the parents watching this should spend some time doing that as well. So you know how to communicate with your kids and you're not accidentally screwing them up and stressing them out and giving them bad advice. And you coaches should probably do the same. So anyway, that's how I would do it. Thank you guys for following. Wish you great success.